Hey guys, this is Mark. I'm going to do a demo of some video and audio editing. I was thinking of also doing a demo of some video capturing, but I'm using the video capturing thing to do the demo. And so I'm not sure how easily it would be to show you how to use this software that I'm using, which is OBS, Open Broadcasting System, to then also show you like how I'm capturing stuff with it. But let's say you want to put together a bunch of videos that you already have, or audio that you already have and everything, and you're wondering how to do that. And so this video will hopefully show you how to do that. We're primarily going to be using two apps. One is Resolve, Davinci Resolve, which when you open it, it looks like this. You can, just Google it. Basically, go to, Davinci. Here, I'll throw on Google thing. Davinci Resolve, and get it from this website. Basically, you go to free download, and it'll ask you do this one. Pick whatever thing you're at. The thing is, you have to give them your email details, but it's free other than that. So go ahead and do that, or use a different one, and a whole bunch of these basically work the same way. So the other thing to get is Audacity, which is an audio editor, which is also free, and this one actually is open source. You don't have to give them any information about yourself or anything like that. You just click on this download, and it gives you a whole bunch of options, and you just have to pick the right one. If you're on Windows, you could just pick one of these installers. If you're on Mac or Linux or whatever, pick a different thing. Okay, so once you have these apps, so this is what Davinci looks like, this is what Audacity looks like, and I think it makes the most sense to start with Davinci Resolve. When you open it for the first time, actually, I'm going to launch it I'm going to launch it so you can see what's going on here. It'll ask you basically if you want to start a new project or open up an existing project. And, I've got a bunch of things in here already. If you open it for the very first time, all you're going to have is this Untitled Project thing over at the top left. You can basically just double click it and it'll open it up. There's nothing in it right now. When you look at this screen, there's a bunch of tabs down at the bottom for like different stages of editing, I guess. The only ones you really need to pay attention to are this edit one and this deliver one. All the rest are like extra. Like media is useful if you have a ton of things that you want to import and everything, because it sort of keeps track of your library and everything. Cut is sort of preparing all that stuff to be the right length and all that stuff, but you don't actually, I almost never use the cut. I almost always just use the edit thing anyways. And then these things let you just mess around with different effects and color correction and stuff like that. And then deliver is how you export it and everything. So let's just go to edit. The easiest thing to do here would be in your file system to just open up, a folder with your files in it and everything. I'm just gonna grab this random one that my brother made. And so I grabbed this and moved it over into the media pool, right? And immediately this dialog window came up asking if the frame rate should be changed to match the video that I'm importing. And I think the answer is yes. Like, you should do this, otherwise you might get some weird speed artifacts going on. And the thing is, if you have multiple video sources, they might have different frame rates, and so then you have to basically just choose which one you're going to go with. For Zoom, I think Zoom actually records at 25 frames per second, and I don't know what this was saved as. This is a video from my brother. So I will just click on change just to set it to be the same thing as whatever this is. And while I'm here, I might as well throw this file in as well. This is an audio file of just some testing. And you can see now that there's these two audio, or these two things in here, right? And what you can do is you can grab them and throw them into this bottom right panel. And this is where you can do the editing and all that stuff. So like, you know, you can step through. This might be not a very good example because it's very short. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that's what we're going. All right, so this is a video file that we want to edit. Let's say you, let's say this is a recording of, like, you know, whatever you've recorded for the Let's Play, and there's parts of it that you don't want to use, or parts of it that you want to use, but you want to insert it in different areas or whatever. The most useful tool probably that you're going to be using is this. So there's a bunch of tools sort of above the timeline thing. This thing's called timeline. Right now the red arrow pointer means that you have that selected. It's the selection tool. But you can choose these other things and mess with them. One of them is this one. The icon, I don't know if it's clear, but it's supposed to be a razor blade. You know, if you are familiar with razor blades. That's what I think it's supposed to be. So anyways, if you click on that and then you click somewhere on here, then you are making a cut in the film. So let's say, actually, another thing to know about is over at the very right here, there's this minus and plus sign, and you can use this to sort of increase the time scale or decrease the time scale so that you can see, you know, a close-up view or zoomed-in view of the different video files that you throw in here. Right now, if you look at the time, this is the time, so it's about starts at 01 000000, right? So and it goes to here 01 002000. So this means this video is about, or is, 20 seconds long. That's what this is. Actually don't know why it starts at, why the origin starts at 1 hour in, but it does. So let's say like you don't want this middle part in the video. You just basically select, you know, and cut there and then cut there, and then select the arrow thing and then just delete that, and it'll suddenly you know, basically have deleted that little part there, right? That's basically it. I mean, you know, like this, probably more often you'll be using this at the beginning and the end of the videos. So let's say, you know, you don't actually need this all this extra time up front or all this extra stuff in the back, you know, like, you know, you're hitting the button to record or whatever. You know, you just select that and then just delete it, right? And select the end and then just delete it, right? And so, you know, and this is where being able to zoom in and out is really useful, because maybe you want like extremely precise cuts. So if you zoom in all the way, each of these steps is basically one frame in your video, so you can have very, very precise cuts and everything. You'll also notice this video track, you know, at the top here, it shows you a thumbnail of what's going on in the video. Underneath that is this audio thing that shows this waveform of what is going on basically with the audio stuff, right? The thing is, I think by default it doesn't show this, and you have to turn it on. So over here on the left side, you can basically mess with the view options of this. And if under audio view options, this might not be toggled, or let's see, it might be, oh, here we go. That might not be toggled. So you want to click on that to make sure, you know, the actual waveform is showing. That way you can instead of visual cues to know where to cut and everything, you can look at audio cues to know where to cut. So for example, if somebody says, like, let's say this is a sentence, somebody's saying something from here to here, but this part right here is them saying you can cut that out. You can just, you know, I say a lot, go in here, select that, and just cut that out, right? And that's just, you know, a way to make your videos tighter, or your audio tighter and everything. Let's say, okay, let's throw this audio in. Let's say you don't want to use this audio, actually. You want to use the audio like a narration that you're doing. I'm going to grab this audio track and throw it down here. Try to, anyways, here we go. And so now there's an additional audio track, and you can do this with video tracks too. So you know, let's say you want to, you know, oops, I overwrote that audio track. But anyways, you know, you just throw this video track in, and let's not link these guys. And so now you have this video track, which is a duplicate of what we had earlier, and you can just sort of, is it? Oh, actually it's not actually the same. Let me zoom out here. Okay, so I think I screwed things up already. Okay, yeah. When I deleted this, it tried to intelligently resize it and stick it where it thinks like it's trying to be intelligent about it. So we don't want it to actually do that. One way that you can avoid doing that is by just unlinking them, like really unlinking them, just sort of moving them aside, then deleting that, and then it retains the video. But anyways, like let's say, pretend there's a different video and you want to insert it into your video, right? Then you just grab this. Actually, we want to link these guys. So shift click. You can select multiple things with shift. And then you can link them together here. So like now when I click on it, they both get selected because they're linked right here, right? So now I can move this over here, and I can move this. You know, you don't actually have to physically move it to the same track. You can just leave it up here. Whatever is on top will be the thing that's shown. So like if you're over here, sorry for the audio, if you're over here and you know, you actually move this video on top of it, then it will overwrite. So whatever's higher in this timeline view will be the thing that's being shown. And this way you can sort of arrange videos on top of each other and stuff like that, and insert. So like so pretend this is one video source, and you know that I split in half and separated, and then am throwing this other one on top of it to be in between these two bookends, right? So we still have this audio. So let's say we want to throw this audio in as a narration. So right now it's just going to play this stuff, the original stuff, and then when it gets here, then it'll start playing this other audio track. Audio is different in that it tries to mix the audio together. And so if I were to put this here and then render this, like save this file, it'll play all the audio from this video and this audio track. This audio track like needs some normalization and stuff like that. I'll show you that in a second. But anyways, so like this is another audio track, right? And so you're going to enter this here, and you notice this video and this audio aren't the same length. There's different ways you can do things to try to get them to be the same length. Let's say this video that you have isn't like doesn't have to be shown in real time, it could be sped up. Then you can basically speed it up, right? There's actually a whole bunch of different effects and everything. Over on the right, the top right here, there's this little panel that gives you a lot of options for different things that you can do. And one of them that you can do is like mess with the speed. It's grayed out. Let's see. Why is it grayed out? Huh, you can reverse it. That's neat. Oh, it's grayed out, but you can still actually do it. So the way you do it is you just you can either use your mouse and grab this thing. It's supposed to look like a dial, like one of those circle dial things. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can see on cameras and stuff. But you could also just move your mouse onto the number here, where you know it's 161. That means it's 161% as fast as it normally is. So normally it's 100% fast, right? And you can increase this, so you can just drag your mouse up and down or left, right to increase it or decrease it. And if you want it to be, you can also just double click on the number and just type in something exactly. So if you want it to be 4 times faster than what it normally is, then you would do 400%, right? 400. And so now this clip will play in 4 times speed. And it's about the same length now as this audio clip. So, you know, we can try to sync them up a little bit, bring this guy back in, and, you know, that's just one way of sort of, I guess, adding, you know, stuff that are varying lengths, but you want to sync them up and everything. If, well, so you can do that with audio files too. So the thing is with audio files, if you do go too fast, and like let's say someone's talking, right? But they're the thing that they're talking about or whatever, that clip is just too long. If they're a slow talker, you can kind of speed it up, maybe 110, 120%, without it sounding too weird. But if you go anything higher than that, then they start sounding like a chipmunk, and that's not going to work. So then you just have to figure something else out. You might be able to change the pitch with editing or whatever, but I think it's better to just find other audio clips, or other video clips to add in to show while they're talking, you know. That's about it, I think. Let's see. I've got in the list, I posted this to our Slack thing about adding video and audio clips, which is basically what I showed you. You know, you basically just open a file thing, and then you know, you just grab the files and throw them in. And then let's see, cutting, deleting, moving clips. Yeah, that's basically the stuff. Changing speed of clip, transition effects. Oh, transition effects. Okay, so if you want to do stuff like fades and stuff like that, let's say we want this video to fade into this video instead of just immediately being cut over by it, or you know, being overwritten by it. There's a bunch of stuff on the bottom left here that gives you different sorts of effects and everything that you can use. One of them is video transitions. So you could do, we want to do a blur dissolve. There we go. Okay. So to add one of these video effects or transitions, you basically are going to pick which one you want to use and just drag it over. So let's take this one and drag it over here. I believe you have to do it for both videos. Well, blur dissolved actually isn't dependent on having 2 videos. So like one doesn't blur into the other. Like you could have them, you know, it gets blurry and then it unblurs, right? if you wanted to. If you have this over this, it doesn't blur into the other video, I don't think. Oh, I'm wrong, it does. It does blur into the other video. And so you could do that and, you know, do a different type of cut, like a cross dissolve. See what that looks like. Yeah, that doesn't work very well because what it does is it's trying to basically sorry for audio. It's trying to do like a fade, but since it's fading to itself, like because I don't actually have two different videos here to show you, then it the effect isn't really doing much because it's sort of, you know, transitioning to itself and everything, right? But let's replace that effect. So all I did there was I selected them and hit delete. Let's do a different type of transition. Barn door. Nice. Okay, so that's a barn door. I don't think anything happens if you add a barn door to the bottom. Yeah. It's just out of curiosity, I want to see what happens. Oh. That's interesting. So just doing that, you're not seeing anything because they're actually in sync. There you can see those two black bars. Anyways, yeah. So you mess around with the different effects and all that stuff. For the audio, so, okay. So what else do we want to cover? The audio of this clip, like you can see just by looking at the waveform, that the audio here is going to be pretty loud, or not too loud, but like correctly loud, I guess, like good, right? But audio here is too soft. Like you can tell it's going to be too soft. You can grab it, like I just did, and then move it and increase the volume, like that. It might sound blown out. Testing some more. Testing some more. Okay, so it kind of sounds okay, but you can hear this noise in the background now, right? So like, you know, like, well, let's get rid of that noise. You can mess around with Davinci a bit. In terms of messing around with the noise with the audio and everything. I usually do this stuff in Audacity. I think Fairlight lets you do some audio editing. Yeah, I've never used this. You could probably do everything you needed to with this, but I'm really used to using Audacity, so let me show you that real quick. Okay, so this is Audacity, and that audio recording that I was using in Davinci down there is this one that I had recorded. You know, so like in Audacity, here I'll just show you. New file. You basically get these controls up here at the top, and you can record audio, like your microphone and stuff like that with them. There's this drop down. If you have multiple microphones, you get to select like which mic you want to use and everything, and then which speaker you want to be using to play back and everything. And the thing to remember, I guess, is there's this recording volume thing here, and sometimes it's set pretty low, so that might be an issue. There's a lot of stuff here, but I think by default it should just work when you first launch it and everything. And you could just hit the record button, start talking, hello, this is a test, hit the stop button, and now you have a recording, right? You play that, start talking, hello, this is a test. Hit the stop. Okay, But okay, so this audio file, if I were to import it, like if you were to look at this compared to this audio file, I guess I am a little bit louder, but it's still pretty. It looks pretty soft, right? So there's ways that you can normalize. It's called normalizing, where you would take the audio file and you would increase the volume, but then up to a certain amount, and anything that would like go over a certain threshold isn't actually increased. So you sort of like it isn't just a straight up decibel increase, which is what this grabbing it in Davinci was doing. It's just a straight up decibel increase or decrease, and normalizing it instead lets you basically I guess increase overall, but then the things that are really loud to begin with don't get like super loud and like blow your ears out and everything, right? The way to do that is you can like select different areas. So you basically I don't know if you can see this, but there's like this little cursor marker that you can use to select, which I'm doing by just dragging. I'm clicking, dragging, and you select a little area. Well, so first off, let's delete the things that we don't need, right? We don't need that little bit. We don't need this little bit. Probably. You can either select stuff, or you can just hit Control A to select the whole thing. You could go up to here and select all, which is the same thing as Control A. And then in their effects, there's a whole bunch of things you can do. What we want to do is normalize it. And in here, you can sort of mess around with how loud you want the overall thing to be, and just go with default usually for now, and just see if that works. And then play that back. Start talking. Hello. This is a test. You can hear a slight bit of noise. Here, I'm gonna undo all this so you can hear the noise. Okay. So I restored the things that I cut, and I'm gonna normalize it, and then let you hear the noise. Start talking. Hello. This is a test. Hit this, I guess my computer fan or something like that. You can select parts and try to basically reduce the noise of that part. Here, let me do this. So there's this thing that's pretty cool in Audacity called noise reduction, and the way it works is you select the whole thing that you want to reduce the noise of. Here's the instructions. Okay, get noise first. Actually, so you don't select the whole thing. You can just go up here, do noise reduction, and it'll say, okay, select the audio noise reduction to use, the audio for noise reduction to use. So we want to select basically like this part, and it's gonna now that thing's selected, this dialog looks different, and there's this button, get noise profile. So you can click on that, right, and then select the whole thing and do noise reduction again, and we already got our noise profile thing. So step 2, select all the audio you want filtered, choose how much noise you want filtered out, and I'm just going to go with the default again. And so now, like if you notice this waveform now, this is just a line, and supposedly it reduced the noise of that, and then also did it for the rest of the file. So the waveform didn't really change that much, but supposedly the frequency of that noise or whatever that it was has now been reduced. Let's see. Oh, what's going on here? Start talking. Hello. This is a test. Hit this. Yeah. Okay. It sounds way better, right? So let's save this guy. If you save project, then it's like it saves an Audacity file, which is like a work in progress. It retains the undos and stuff like that, I believe. So what you actually want to do is export it. You can export it in any of these formats. It doesn't really matter. I usually just go with MP3, but technically OGG is a better. I'll just do OGG. OGG is a better file format. It's less lossy. What that means is when it compresses it, you don't lose information. And I think they end up being about the same size, anyways. And you can do, if you're doing like music, or whatever, you can put down the tracks and all that stuff, track info and all that stuff if you want. Okay. So now I have this file saved, I believe in that temp folder. Yeah, right there, Untitled OGG. Let's go into Davinci, or just throw this into Davinci. Oh, maybe Davinci doesn't like OGG files. Let's see, try that again. Oh yeah. Okay, well that's the reason why not to save OGG. I'll save this again. Export. I wonder if it does waves. Let's find out. Save that guy, same thing, and then I'll save it as an MP3 just in case. And this time I need to change the name because there's another file with that name already. Okay, so in Davinci we'll see if it likes wave files. Oh, it does. Okay. And of course it likes MP3 files too. Sorry, these are identical. I'll just delete that. Okay, so we have this guy. Throw this in here. And, the audio sort of is already normalized and everything. We didn't do that with this audio, so if you were to play this, you can probably hear testing some more. Yeah, it just sounds terrible, right? Because of all that noise. Let's get rid of that. Ooh. So let's move this over here so that when you delete it, it doesn't delete the whole thing. There is a way to set it so that it doesn't automatically try to resize the video and everything when you're deleting certain things. I always forget to set that, and I just find it faster just to move things out of the way. The problem with doing that is sometimes they're exactly where you want them to be. And so then if you need to delete something, then you actually have to be careful about the scaling and everything. And I think it's this retime and scaling thing. You can do some tests. Nope. It's not this. It is cropping? No. Transform? Well, it's something. If that's an issue, I guess I can Google that real quick too. But with the magic of video editing, I'll have the answer, as if I knew it all along. Let's see, Davinci Resolve. How to delete without moving timeline. How to delete a clip without moving other clips in Davinci Resolve. You can delete a clip without moving other clips. Right-clicking clip and select delete selected. I don't think that's true. Delete selected. Oh, yeah, that worked. So shortcut in Windows is backspace. All right. So I was using the delete button, which does that. It moves the whole thing, and then hit Control Z. And actually, what I wanted to do was hit the backspace button, which does that. And if you're on Mac, you just have to play around with like the delete and backspace and stuff like that. I think because this website that I just found says delete on Mac OS, which makes me, I don't have a Mac in front of me, so I don't know what the keyboard layout is like. But anyways, if you ever have questions on anything, you just Google the shit out of everything, right? Okay, where's that list? What other stuff do you need to know how to do? Titling, adding titles. So okay, on here we want to throw in a title. Again, over at the bottom left here, you have these different effects you can throw in. So let's throw in some text, and you just drag it in. Again, let's create more space here. You can just throw it in text. We'll throw it on top of that. And then over at the top right, there's like, the details or whatever, the properties of the thing that you have currently selected. And so we have this title currently selected, and you can mess around with the different settings and stuff like that. You can make it bigger, you can position it specifically, and you can just type in whatever you want. So like whatever. Okay, so then you can see in the preview video here that that's what that thing looks like now, right? This text is just whatever I want. Let's change the color, make it a little bit more readable. Yellow, red, whatever. You can change the font and all this other stuff, right? So that's how to add titles. There's a whole bunch of different types of titles that you can do with different effects, animation effects, scrolling effects, and things like that. So you might want to play around with these. I just chose the very basic one. Actually, let me just choose a different one just so you can see. Ooh, backspace. Okay, like this one is a little bit fancier. Whatever you want. Did that work? See, it just still says sample. Oh, here we go. Small text and big text. Okay. The small text. Why is it not showing the small text? Oh, I don't know how all of these things work. So you just have to mess around until you find one that you think you like. What else do we have? List of stuff. Images. So images are the same. So I showed videos, basically putting videos and stuff like that. But if you have a bunch of JPEGs or whatever images that you grab, you can also throw them in here, drag them in. I think Davinci Resolve gives them a default of like 5 seconds or something like that. They'll be on the screen for 5 seconds. But you can just, for an image file, you can just basically just grab. Here I'll go. Grab. So pretend this is an image, right? Or this is an image. You can go here when you have the little arrow thing. Normally you can just select stuff, right, with the little arrow thing, but you can also, if you move your mouse towards the edge, grab it and like make it shorter or longer. If it's a video file, you can't make it longer, right? But if it's you can make it shorter and it'll just cut to however long you've got. But if it's an image file, then it just changes the duration that the image appears on your screen and everything. Okay, encoding and saving. So let's say this is it, or you have a rough cut or whatever. You're ready to export it and to share it with everyone. You should save it. Just save your project. And just create, a Davinci project thing. If you were to save this and then move your video files around your file system or delete them or whatever, then your project will no longer work. Like when you open up the Davinci project file, this stuff will be here, like the position and all that stuff. But if the actual video files that you use to throw into the project are no longer where it thinks they should be, then you'll just have these weird blank error things here, right? So it'll try to render the files, but it won't be able to. So you'll just see, I think, a red X for each of these objects that is no longer there. So just because you saved it doesn't mean you can delete the original stuff. But anyways, you have this, saved it, and you want to export it. If you go to up here and do export, there's a quick export thing, which I used to use, but I don't use anymore. And you can export, through here and everything. I think it's way easier to go to deliver, this deliver tab, and you have a little bit more control in terms of like the format and everything. Over on the left hand side, you can say, you know, you want to give it a certain name, so there's a test, and you want to put it somewhere. So like we'll throw it in, I don't know, this OBS folder. No, we'll throw it in the temp folder that I have going, temp folder here. And then right now it's test.move, but we actually want to change that from QuickTime to MP4 probably. I would change the codec. The codec stands for like the way that the video gets sort of compressed, but it requires whoever's playing it back to have the same codec in order to view, to like uncompress the video and view it and everything. The standard nowadays, I mean, H.264 was a standard for a long time. H.265 is pretty much standard now. I think it's pretty safe to go with that. Like all like modern things should be able to play this. I don't really know what this does, network optimization, but I almost always choose it because every time I share video, it's usually over the web somewhere. So I just check through that checkbox. YouTube probably handles it on its own too. Like if you're going to upload this to YouTube or to Vimeo, then it'll probably make sure it'll work on its own platform already. But since we're doing drafts first, if you upload those drafts to our Google Drive, it's probably a good idea to click on this network optimization. Then you can choose resolution and everything. You know, frame rate and all that. So I guess this original video is at 2997, because I remember at the very beginning when I imported the video, it asked me if I wanted to change the frame rate, so that's probably what it was set to. You can basically leave all this. Well, let's see. If you want a smaller file size, then, and you don't think it'll affect the quality that much, you could lower the frame rate. You know, since these are drafts, you probably could get away with like 15 frames a second or something like that, and it would still look fine. But then for your final one, you probably want it to be 30 frames a second, you know, or 25 if you're doing the recording in Zoom. But anyways, you have got all this stuff. The quality right now, the default is set to best. You probably don't want that because it actually makes a huge file. What I usually do is either high or medium. Sometimes what you can do is you can basically like you can do high, or you can manually restrict it, you know, and change this to something more reasonable. 80,000 kilobits per second is a lot. You know, like you could probably get away with just like 8,000 kilobits per second, but anyways, just do automatic and then like medium or high. This is a draft, so I'll just do medium, and then everything else should probably be okay. The audio should basically be okay. Yeah, and then you just click on this button down at the bottom here, add to render queue, and then at the top right here you can see there's now this thing in the render queue, and then when you're ready, you just click on render all, and it'll export the project to a video, which will be this test MP4. Start talking. Hello. This is a test. Hit this. Okay, so, and that answered the question about the titling also. There was a small text that sort of shuffled in, or whatever, slid in. Anyways, I think that's basically it. Cutting, deleting, changing speed, reducing noise, adjusting volume, deleting ums and stutters. I guess that's it. Hopefully this was helpful. If you need to know more stuff, then feel free to, you know, post questions or whatever on Slack. And we can try to help you out. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to edit this now. Okay. Bye.